Hey there, you looking kinda cute. Don't forget to subscribe and check out my other socials for more. Enjoy. A soft knock at the door interrupted the peaceful moment.
Houston, are you awake, honey?
A gentle voice called out. Yeah, Mom, I'm up, came the sleepy reply. The door creaked open, revealing a woman with kind eyes and a warm smile. She crossed the room, perching on the edge of the bed. Today's the big day. How are you feeling? Houston sat up, running fingers through tangled locks.
Nervous, excited, terrified. All of the above?
Mom chuckled, reaching out to squeeze her child's hand.
That's perfectly normal. Remember, we're all here for you. This is your moment to shine.
A small smile tugged at Houston's lips.
Thanks, Mom. I couldn't do this without you guys. Well, let's get you ready. I laid out your outfit last night. Do you want help with your makeup?
Houston nodded eagerly.
Yes, please. I want everything to be perfect.
As Mom left the room, Houston climbed out of bed, padding over to the full-length mirror. The reflection staring back was a work in progress. Masculine features softened by growing hair, a body caught between two worlds. But today, that wouldn't matter. Today, Houston would step into the sunlight as her true self. The pink and blue leotard hung on the closet door, a beacon of hope and possibility. Houston ran fingers over the smooth fabric, heart swelling with anticipation. This was more than just an outfit. It was a statement, a declaration of identity. Downstairs, the kitchen bustled with activity. Dad stood at the stove, flipping pancakes while Houston's younger sister, Mia, set the table. The aroma of coffee and syrup filled the air, creating a comforting atmosphere. Morning, everyone, Houston called out, descending the stairs. Dad turned, spatula in hand, and beamed. There's our star! Ready for your big debut! Houston nodded, settling into a chair at the table. As ready as I'll ever be. Mia slid a plate of pancakes across the table. You're going to be amazing! I can't wait to see you out there. The family chatted excitedly as they ate, discussing the parade route and plans for the day. Only one chair remained conspicuously empty. Where's Lee? Houston asked, glancing at the vacant spot. A flicker of discomfort passed between the parents. Dad cleared his throat.
He, decided to go to that car show instead. You know how he is with crowds.
Houston's face fell slightly, but quickly recovered.
Oh, well, that's okay. I'm just glad you'll all be there.
Mom reached over, squeezing Houston's hand. We wouldn't miss it for the world, sweetheart. After breakfast, the house became a flurry of activity. Houston disappeared upstairs with Mom to get ready, while Dad and Mia decorated the living room with balloons and streamers. Today wasn't just about the parade, it was also Houston's birthday. In the bedroom, Houston stood before the mirror, hardly recognizing the person staring back. The leotard hugged curves in all the right places, accentuating a figure that felt truly feminine for the first time. Mom had worked magic with makeup, contouring and highlighting to soften angles and bring out Houston's natural beauty. Oh, honey, Mom breathed, stepping back to admire her handiwork. You look absolutely stunning. Houston twirled, watching the way the light played off the sequins on the leotard. I feel like me. Like I'm finally on the outside who I've always been on the inside. Tears welled in Mom's eyes. That's because you are. You've always been our beautiful daughter, Houston. Now the whole world gets to see it, too. They shared a tight hug, both sniffling and laughing as they tried not to smudge their makeup. The drive to the parade staging area was a mix of nervous energy and excitement. Houston fidgeted in the back seat, adjusting the leotard and checking makeup in a compact mirror. Dad kept glancing in the rear view, offering encouraging smiles. As they pulled up to the drop-off point, a sea of rainbow flags and colorful outfits greeted them. Houston's eyes widened, taking in the joyful chaos. Wow, Mia breathed, pressing her face against the window. It's like a rainbow exploded out here. Houston laughed, some of the tension melting away. That's kind of the point, silly. They piled out of the car, Houston's heart racing as curious glances turned their way. But instead of judgment or confusion, they were met with smiles and waves.
"You've got this," Dad said, pulling Houston into a bear hug. "We'll be right there cheering you on."
Mom kissed Houston's cheek, careful not to smudge the carefully applied makeup.
"Remember, head high and shoulders back. You're beautiful and strong."
Mia bounced on her toes, practically vibrating with excitement.
"Can I have your autograph when you're famous?"
Houston laughed, ruffling her sister's hair.
"You goofball. I'll see you guys soon, okay?"
With a deep breath, Houston turned and walked towards the gathering crowd of parade participants. Each step felt like a victory, a reclaiming of identity long suppressed. A group of dancers in similar outfits waved Houston over.
"Hey there, you must be new. I'm Skylar."
A tall woman with a shock of purple hair greeted warmly.
"Hi,"
Houston stammered, suddenly shy.
"I'm Houston. This is my first time."
Skylar's smile widened.
"Well, you picked a hell of a debut. Don't worry, we'll take good care of you. Come on, let me introduce you to the rest of the crew." As Houston was swept into the group, the nerves began to fade. These people didn't see a boy in a dress or someone to be pitied. They saw Houston, truly saw her, perhaps for the first time. The parade itself was a blur of music, cheering, and pure, unbridled joy. Houston moved with the other dancers, body finding a natural rhythm. Every shimmy and twirl felt like an affirmation, a declaration to the world. This is me. This is who I've always been. From the sidelines, Houston caught glimpses of her family. Dad, towering above the crowd, waving a small rainbow flag. Mom, tears streaming down her face as she cheered. Mia, perched on Dad's shoulders, shouting herself hoarse. As they rounded the final turn, Houston locked eyes with Mom. In that moment, a lifetime of struggle and self-doubt melted away. This wasn't just about a parade or even gender identity. It was about being seen, truly seen and loved unconditionally. The house was decked out in streamers and balloons when they returned. A happy birthday banner stretched across the living room. Houston, still flushed with excitement from the parade, was immediately engulfed in a group hug. "You were amazing out there, sweetheart," Mom gushed, cupping Houston's face. "I've never seen you shine so brightly." Dad nodded in agreement, eyes suspiciously moist. "We're so proud of you, kiddo. So incredibly proud." Mia bounced around them, chattering a mile a minute about her favorite parts of the parade. Her enthusiasm was infectious, and soon they were all laughing and reliving the day's highlights. As they settled in for cake and presents, a noticeable absence hung in the air. Lee's empty chair seemed to mock their celebration, a reminder of the one family member who couldn't, or wouldn't, accept Houston's truth. Houston tried to push the thought aside, focusing instead on the love surrounding her. But as she blew out the candles, she couldn't help making a silent wish for understanding and reconciliation. The pile of presents yielded a mix of practical and sentimental gifts. New clothes that aligned with Houston's developing style, makeup kits, and even a gift certificate for a spa day. But it was Mom's final gift that brought tears to Houston's eyes. "We've been talking," Mom began, exchanging a glance with Dad. "And if you're ready, we'd like to help you start hormone treatment." Houston's breath caught. "Really? You mean it?" Dad nodded, his expression serious but kind. "We've done our research, talked to doctors. It's a big step, but if this is what you want, we're behind you 100%.
Tears spilled down Houston's cheeks as she launched herself into her parents' arms. "Thank you," she sobbed. "Thank you so much." As the emotional moment settled, Mia piped up. "Does this mean I get to help pick out your new name?" Houston laughed, wiping away tears. "I've actually been thinking about that. What do you guys think of Cynthia?" The name hung in the air for a moment before Mom smiled. "Cynthia. It's beautiful, just like you." "Cynthia it is, then," Dad agreed, raising his glass in a toast. "To Cynthia and new beginnings." As they clinked glasses, the front door opened. Lee stood in the entryway, looking uncomfortable and out of place. The room fell silent, tension crackling in the air. "Lee," Mom said, surprise evident in her voice. "We didn't expect you back so soon." Lee shuffled his feet, avoiding eye contact. "Yeah, well, the car show was kinda lame." He glanced at Houston, at Cynthia, taking in the leotard and makeup. His expression was unreadable. "Heard it was a good parade." Cynthia stood, heart pounding. This was the moment she'd both longed for and dreaded. "It was," she said softly. "I wish you could have been there." Lee's jaw clenched, emotions warring across his face. Finally, he took a deep breath. "Look, I don't understand all of this," he gestured vaguely, "but you're my sibling. And if this is what makes you happy, then I guess I need to try harder to get it." It wasn't a full acceptance, but it was a start. Cynthia felt a weight lift from her shoulders as she crossed the room, pulling her brother into a tentative hug. After a moment's hesitation, Lee's arms came up to return the embrace. "Thank you," Cynthia whispered. As they pulled apart, Lee cleared his throat. "So, Cynthia, huh? That's gonna take some getting used to." Cynthia laughed, the sound light and free. "Tell me about it." The tension in the room dissipated as Lee joined the celebration. It wasn't perfect. There were still awkward moments and missteps, but it was progress. As Cynthia looked around at her family, she felt a sense of peace settle over her. This was just the beginning of her journey, but for the first time, she truly believed that everything was going to be okay. The weeks following Cynthia's birthday were a whirlwind of doctor's appointments, counseling sessions, and paperwork. The process of starting hormone therapy was simultaneously exciting and overwhelming. But through it all, her family remained a steady source of support. Mom accompanied Cynthia to every appointment, asking thoughtful questions and taking meticulous notes. Dad threw himself into researching, determined to understand every aspect of his daughter's transition. Even Lee made an effort, awkwardly offering to go clothes shopping with Cynthia. "I mean, I don't know anything about girl clothes," he mumbled, rubbing the back of his neck. "But I can carry bags or whatever." Cynthia's heart swelled at the gesture. "Thanks, Lee. I'd like that." As the hormones began to take effect, Cynthia watched her body slowly transform. Subtle changes at first, softer skin, the beginnings of chest development. But with each passing week, she felt more and more at home in her own skin. There were challenges, of course. The first time Cynthia ventured out in public presenting fully as female, she was acutely aware of every glance, every whisper. But with her family by her side, she held her head high. "Remember," Mom had said that morning as they got ready, "you're not pretending to be someone else. You're finally showing the world who you've always been." Those words echoed in Cynthia's mind as they walked through the mall. She caught her reflection in a store window, flowing sundress, carefully applied makeup, hair styled in soft waves. For the first time, the person staring back at her matched the image she'd always held in her heart. "Earth to Cynthia!" Mia's voice broke through her reverie. "Can we please, please, please get ice cream?" Cynthia laughed, ruffling her sister's hair. "You know Mom said no sweets before dinner." Mia pouted dramatically. "But it's a special occasion. We're celebrating you being you." "Nice try, Squirt," Lee chimed in, but there was affection in his voice. "How about we hit the arcade instead? I bet I can still kick your butt at air hockey." As they made their way to the arcade, Cynthia felt a surge of gratitude. This, the easy banter, the shared laughter, was what family was supposed to be. Not just acceptance, but genuine love and support. The summer flew by in a haze of milestones and memories. Cynthia's first swim in a women's bathing suit, nervously tugging at the fabric until Mom gently reminded her that she had nothing to be ashamed of. The day she legally changed her name, the whole family crowding into the courthouse to cheer as the judge made it official. There were setbacks, too. The first time someone hurled a slur at Cynthia on the street, Lee nearly got into a fist fight defending her. It took both Cynthia and Dad to hold him back.
"It's not worth it," Cynthia had said, even as tears stung her eyes. "They're just ignorant." Lee had fumed for days afterward until Cynthia sat him down for a heart-to-heart. "I appreciate you wanting to protect me," she said, "but the best way to fight hate is with love and education. Will you help me with that?" From that day forward, Lee became Cynthia's fiercest advocate. He read every book she recommended, attended support group meetings as an ally, and even started a GSA at his college. As summer turned to fall, Cynthia faced a new challenge: returning to school. She'd taken a semester off to focus on her transition, but now it was time to step back into the world of academia, this time as her true self. The night before classes started, Cynthia stood before her closet, agonizing over what to wear. Everything felt wrong. Too feminine, not feminine enough, too attention-grabbing, too plain. A knock at the door interrupted her spiral of self-doubt. "Can I come in?" Dad's voice called out. "Yeah, sure," Cynthia sighed, flopping onto the bed. Dad entered, taking in the explosion of clothes strewn about the room. "Having some trouble deciding?" Cynthia groaned, covering her face with a pillow. "I don't know what I was thinking." "I can't do this. Everyone's going to stare and whisper and—" Hey, Dad said gently, sitting beside her on the bed. "Take a deep breath. Remember what we talked about?" Cynthia peeked out from behind the pillow. "That I'm not responsible for other people's reactions?" Dad nodded. "Exactly. You can't control what anyone else thinks or does. All you can do is be true to yourself. The rest will fall into place." He stood, surveying the clothing carnage. "Now how about we pick out an outfit that makes you feel confident and comfortable? That's the most important thing." Together, they pieced together an ensemble that felt both stylish and authentically Cynthia. As she looked in the mirror, smoothing down the soft fabric of her blouse, she felt a spark of excitement replace the anxiety. "Thanks, Dad," she said, turning to give him a hug. "I don't know what I'd do without you guys." Dad's arms tightened around her. "You'd be just fine because you're strong and brave, but you'll never have to find out because we're not going anywhere." The next morning, Cynthia stood at the entrance to the university, heart pounding. She'd opted to transfer to a new school, wanting a fresh start where no one knew her past. It was terrifying and exhilarating all at once. As she took her first step onto campus, she felt her phone buzz in her pocket. It was a group text from her family. Mom, "Remember, head high and shoulders back. You've got this, sweetheart." Dad, "Knock 'em dead, kiddo. We're so proud of you." Mia, "You're going to be the coolest girl on campus. Can I borrow your clothes when I'm older?" Lee, "Anyone gives you trouble, just say the word. I'll be there in 10 minutes flat." Cynthia laughed, warmth blooming in her chest. With her family's love buoying her, she straightened her spine and walked into her future. Finally, truly herself. As the semester progressed, Cynthia found her footing both academically and socially. She joined the Campus LGBTQ Alliance, finding a community of peers who understood her journey. Her professors were largely supportive, with only a few hiccups as they adjusted to her new name and pronouns. One particularly memorable moment came in her Introduction to Women's Studies class. The professor had assigned a personal essay on gender identity and expression. Cynthia poured her heart into the paper, detailing her journey of self-discovery and transition. When she got the paper back, she was stunned to see not only an A+ at the top, but a lengthy note from her professor. "Cynthia, thank you for sharing your story with such honesty and eloquence. Your courage is inspiring, and your insights into the complexities of gender are invaluable to our class discussions. Please consider submitting this to the university's literary journal. Voices like yours need to be heard." That night, Cynthia called home, excited to share the news. As always, her family's enthusiasm was infectious. "Oh, honey, that's wonderful!" Mom exclaimed. "I always knew you were a talented writer." "Does this mean you're going to be famous?" Mia chimed in from the background. "Can I have your autograph now?" Cynthia laughed, the sound light and carefree. "I don't know about famous, but it feels good to have my voice heard, you know?" "We're proud of you, kiddo," Dad's warm voice came through the speaker. "Not just for the grade, but for having the courage to share your story." There was a brief scuffle on the other end of the line, and then Lee's voice. "Hey, sis, that's awesome. But, you might want to give that journal a heads up that they're about to get a flood of submissions. I may have bragged about you on social media."
"Lee!"
Cynthia groaned, but she couldn't keep the smile out of her voice. "You're impossible." "Yeah, but you love me anyway," he shot back. As the call ended, Cynthia felt a familiar warmth in her chest. No matter what challenges she faced, she knew her family would always be there, cheering her on. The weeks flew by, a blur of classes, study sessions, and new friendships. Cynthia found herself thriving in ways she never had before. For the first time, she felt truly comfortable in her own skin, free to express herself without fear or shame. Of course, there were still difficult days, moments when dysphoria hit hard, or when a thoughtless comment from a stranger stung more than it should. But Cynthia had developed a resilience she never knew she possessed. She'd learned to lean on her support system, her family, her friends, her therapist, and to practice self-care when things got tough. As the semester drew to a close, Cynthia received an unexpected invitation. The university's LGBT Alliance was hosting a formal winter ball, and they wanted her to give a speech about her experiences as a transgender student. Initially, the idea terrified her. Speaking in front of a crowd, sharing her most personal struggles? It seemed impossible. But as she thought about it more, she realized what an opportunity it was to potentially help others who might be struggling with their own identity. The night of the ball arrived, and Cynthia stood before her mirror, barely recognizing the young woman staring back at her. She wore a flowing blue gown that highlighted her body, her hair styled in an elegant updo. But more than the external transformation, it was the confidence in her eyes that truly took her breath away. A soft knock at the door broke her reverie.
"Cynthia, are you ready, honey? We don't want to be late,"
Mom called out. Taking a deep breath, Cynthia opened the door. The look of awe on her family's faces brought tears to her eyes. "Oh, sweetheart," Mom breathed, reaching out to cup Cynthia's face. "You look absolutely radiant." Dad cleared his throat, blinking rapidly. "My beautiful daughter," he said, voice thick with emotion. Even Lee seemed at a loss for words. "Damn, sis," he finally managed. "You clean up good." Mia, as always, cut through the emotion with her boundless enthusiasm. "You look like a princess. Can I be your lady-in-waiting?" Laughter bubbled up from Cynthia's chest, dispelling the last of her nerves. Surrounded by the love of her family, she felt invincible. Whatever challenges the night might bring, she knew she could face them. As they arrived at the ball, Cynthia was overwhelmed by the transformation of the university's gymnasium. Twinkling lights hung from the ceiling, creating a magical atmosphere. Couples swirled across the dance floor, a sea of glittering gowns and sharp tuxedos.
"Cynthia, you made it!"
A familiar voice called out. It was Jamie, one of her closest friends from the Alliance. They rushed over, resplendent in a glittering gold suit.
"And this must be your family. It's so nice to finally meet you all."
As introductions were made, Cynthia felt a surge of pride. This was her world now, a place where she could be fully, authentically herself, surrounded by people who celebrated that authenticity. The evening passed in a whirl of dancing, laughter, and heartfelt conversations. Cynthia watched with amusement as her dad awkwardly attempted to learn the latest dance moves from some of her friends, while Mom charmed everyone with her warm personality. But all too soon, it was time for her speech. As Cynthia made her way to the stage, she felt a momentary flutter of panic. But then she caught sight of her family in the crowd, Mom and Dad beaming with pride, Mia giving an enthusiastic thumbs up, and Lee nodding encouragingly. Taking a deep breath, Cynthia stepped up to the microphone. "Good evening, everyone," she began, her voice stronger than she expected. "A year ago, I never could have imagined standing here before you.
I was lost, struggling to reconcile who I knew myself to be with the person the world saw. As she spoke, sharing her journey of self-discovery and acceptance, Cynthia felt a weight lifting from her shoulders. She saw heads nodding in the audience, saw tears in the eyes of those who recognized their own struggles in her words. Oh, and so, to anyone out there who's questioning, who's afraid, who feels alone, know that you are seen, you are valid, and you are loved, Cynthia concluded, her voice ringing out clear and true. Thank you. The applause was thunderous. As Cynthia made her way back to her family, she was stopped again and again by people wanting to thank her, to share their own stories, to offer words of support. Finally reaching her family, Cynthia was immediately enveloped in a group hug. No words were necessary. The love and pride radiating from them said it all. As the night wound down, Cynthia found a quiet moment alone with her thoughts. She thought about the long journey that had brought her to this point, the struggles, the fears, the moments of doubt. But mostly, she thought about the incredible love and support that had carried her through. Looking out at the dance floor, at her friends and family laughing and dancing without a care in the world, Cynthia felt a profound sense of peace settle over her. This was where she belonged. This was who she was meant to be. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out my other socials if you want more wonderful content, early access, behind the scenes, and more. All links down below.